Good morning. My name is LaShonda, and I will be your conference operator today. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to the Capacity Management Global Community Webcast. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speaker's remarks, there will be a question and answer session. If you would like to ask a question during this time, simply press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw your question, press the pound key. Thank you. I will now turn today's call over to Mr. Jim Lundy. Please go ahead, sir.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jim Lundy, your Capacity Management Global Communities Board President. I'd like to thank everyone for taking time out of your busy schedule and joining us. I'd like to thank CA for hosting this event and sharing some insights on what we can look for in the upcoming software release. Before we get started, I'd like to encourage you all to go ahead and check out the Capacity Management Global Communities website to get involved. You can go ahead and go to the communityca.com/places, select Capacity Management, and find us there as well as other communities. And just to geek you out further, I don't know how many people are familiar with Flipboard. It's another way to access news, information, and insights on capacity management from your smartphone and your tablets. Just get the free app and download and install it, and then look for a CA cookbook, and there you have it. With that said, let's get started with today's webcast. Today we have Jose and S covering the 2.5 and 2.6 release features, as well as what's being planned after that. We have John Ashby doing a demo of the new 2.5 release, of which we just personally went to. Afterwards, we have Jeremy Rossbach telling us about what's coming up with events, and then we'll ask and take questions at the end. Thank you, and turn over to Jose, please.
Good morning, everyone. Let's talk about what we have done in the last few quarters and what we will be doing and releasing very soon. First of all, let me share the presentation. Okay. So what we have delivered in the past, at the end of June, we just delivered the version 2.5 of our product. We were able to improve the model mapping and its security. We added Vmware vSphere 5.5 support, and something that was a good win for all of us was that we were able to accelerate the delivery of the CCR 1.5 release, which included AIX and VMware CCC diagnostic reports, and also provided a recommendation on virtual system resizing. It also had customization settings like themes. Now, at the end of September, we expect to release the 2.6 version. A few important things that will happen. We are improving the model mapping algorithm, mostly for VMware hosts. We believe that's a big win for everyone. That will save a lot of time for people who have maybe thousands of VM hosts, and they will no longer have to manually map them to a particular model, a particular system model. It will be done automatically. We are advertising about a 70% success rate, but we have found way better than that in our tests. We are also improving performance, improving the staging tables and the baseline rollup. Now, the marquee features of the release are the data adapters that we are building. We are introducing a new NIMsoft data adapter that initially takes advantage of the CDM and VMware probes provided by NIMsoft. That will help us in multiple ways. Existing NIMsoft customers will be able to benefit from capacity management reports without having to invest in more well, essentially having to install more data adapters to pull the data that they are already collecting. But it will also help all of us over time by exposing us to a very large number of probes that collect data for systems, for storage, for applications and databases. So we will be able to start taking advantage of all of the data collected by NIMSOF very soon. First release at the end of this quarter, and we will talk about how we will continue adding support for new probes in the following quarters. We are also introducing a new VMware data adapter. This one uses the API, not the database. It will be great in those environments where database access is not advised or not preferred. And the beta is available now if anyone wants to participate on the beta and provide some feedback. Initial feedback has been good. A few screenshots, but again, Ashby probably will give you something better than just screenshots on what the data adapters look. NIMSOF data adapter, it listens to the NIMSOF boss. It doesn't impact performance on the NIMSOF system. It's essentially a listening probe, and then it sends data back to us and gets it imported into the NIMSOF data adapter, which is a reuse of the existing and stable generic CSV Kaplan data adapter. The VMware API, again, fairly straightforward to configure in the same way that you normally configure other data adapters. It will use the API as opposed to the database. Now, what are we working on in the next few quarters? In terms of the core product, we have a strategy to migrate the CCR functionality to the Unified Infrastructure Manager, essentially NIMSOF UMP. You will see more on that in the near future. The idea is that we want to improve the speed at which we can produce reports, the speed at which we can introduce new reports to the market, and we want to start enabling the whole product to use data that was otherwise not available to us, and eventually it will help us produce reports that combine multiple aspects of the data center into the same capacity management reporting. We are also working on enhancing the way we manage virtual memory to be a lot more accurate than we currently are. In terms of data adapters, we will continue working on the NIMSOF data adapter. That is our long-term strategy, to leverage all of that 140 probes that NIMSOF has. We will start working on the IBM visualization probe and the RSP probe, the remote server monitoring probe, and also on some storage and database probes over time. Again, that is the long-term strategy. In the meantime, we will also introduce a new Amazon probe and data adapter, and we will update the Edmond data adapter. So with that, I will pass the ball to Ashby. Feel free to send questions via chat or just to hold the question until the end, and I will be happy to answer them.
All right, thank you, Jose. And so the first thing that I wanted to kind of go through and talk about are going to be some of the changes that you can anticipate or expect to see with the 2.6 release, which we're coming close to. I guess the best word would be imminent. And for those of you kind of participating and have worked with our tool set, there is a configuration process that is required in order for calculations to be performed for the various servers. And again, I imagine most everyone's familiar with this process because it can actually be quite cumbersome, and I'm actually quite excited about this feature add. So for those that may not be familiar, within the Capacity Command Center administration portal, we've got our we call the server configuration spreadsheet. And what I'm going to do here is go through, and I wanted to download a version of this so that you can see the differences and changes as it relates to our ability to automatically map and associate a host to the specific make and model. And so now, most of this, it looks kind of just arbitrary information, but what I wanted to kind of bring to everyone's attention is, so within the spreadsheet, I guess the saying that I use is blue is bad, meaning that I have to do something. Green is good, meaning that we were able to pick up all of this information, and it is the reported configuration. And historically, what you've seen is when you come into this the spreadsheet is that depending upon the amount of data and your source, most of these kind of middle sections here, they tend to be blue, which essentially means that the user needs to complete a configuration task in order for these values to reconcile and then be added as part of the nightly roll-up job. And so what I wanted to bring to your attention is as we scroll down, you're going to notice that we have some new things. And historically, this has always been kind of a user-configured section. And I have a mix of both servers that I had configured prior to my upgrade and then after the upgrade, and you can see that the same set of servers that I had to configure manually prior to are actually automatically configured and associated with a computer model. Now, something that I also wanted to bring to everyone's attention is that based upon the algorithm that was developed, we have enough built-in intelligence so that even if all of the specifications are not exact, and this is a good example here. So this is a Cisco UCS blade chassis. So this N20, B6625. If you were to take that and hit the Googles, it would come back and it will tell you that it's a Cisco UCS M2, and you can see that even though we don't have an exact match on the computer model, we still have enough intelligence where we can look at other attributes like our total threads, the clock speed, and then coupling that with the system type, we can then make a match. And so what does this mean? Well, and again, this capability is going to vary based upon the data source because, as we all know, all data sources are not created equal. Some get more comprehensive information than others, but a majority of the organizations that I work with, VMware is a prevalent source. And Jose had mentioned earlier that we've got match rates about 70%. However, for me, I've been able to match about 90 to 95% of all of my ESX hosts. So effectively, what this equates to from a I guess from a feature perspective is that you should see a huge decline in the amount of manual tasks associated with validating the server make and model. And again, for VMware, I've been able to achieve a very high match rate. Additionally, I've worked with a couple of other data sources where I've been able to get some match activity and have seen good results with SCOM as well. And again, it will depend upon the amount of information that's available, and ultimately what you're going to see is that as opposed to having to configure all servers, you'll go to more of an exception situation to where if we can't resolve the make or model based upon the reported information, that the user will need to complete that. However, I do anticipate a substantial decrease in the configuration tasks, and I know that a number of people on the internally as well as customers are extremely excited about this, as I am too, and I'll be looking forward to deploying this as quickly as possible with as many people as possible, because this was actually an ask from Jim Lundy, and you know what? I'll actually just apply this to pretty much every customer, and so we'll have this, and it should greatly increase the overall user experience as it relates to the configuration of the tool. Okay, and I'm not sure if there anything coming up Q&A or questions. Please feel free to ask. Otherwise, what I was going to touch on here briefly is talk about the introduction of the new VMware API adapter, unless there are any questions on the CML mapping. Okay. I think I hear some weeping, maybe some tears of joy, or very happy people. Anyway, okay. So with the 2.6 release, you'll see the incorporation of a new version of the VMware adapter, and just for everyone's edification, for those of you that are using the VMware collector or adapter, you'll note that we have a weekly and a daily. The only differentiation is weekly is 30-minute, daily is 5-minute data, and we've historically and will continue to go against the database. However, there are instances for security reasons where customers need or are required to access historical VMware data via the API. And so in response to that request, we have added an adapter that is similar to the previous adapters. The only differentiation, or there are a couple of differentiations. One, obviously, we're going against the API, and just so that we're all on the same page, is if a user has an account and can log into the vSphere client like I am here, they can effectively use that same set of credentials to access and collect and pull data from that same virtual center instance. So, so if you come in, you'll notice that I'll just kind of go through this, but my weekly adapter, you'll note we've got our host name, our database name, and then the connection parameters there for that database oriented user account. But if we look at the API, you'll note that we're not referencing the database, and we're referencing the port, the instance ID, and then the username, and then the password for this new API-oriented adapter. Now, I'll be completely honest, for those that have large and substantial virtual center instances, I'm always going to recommend and am an advocate for our methodology in connecting to the database, because from a performance perspective, it is going to perform much faster. One of the differences that you'll see with this API-oriented adapter is that we're not collecting the same quantity of metrics. So for those of you who have worked with me, I've actually written a couple of different adapters that are limited, that kind of parse down the number of metrics so that it a little bit more streamlined, that essentially collects all of the core metrics that are needed in order to build models, populate the relevant reports at the cluster, the host, and the individual VM level. And we are going to be paring back the quantity of metrics to account for the performance differentiations that we have seen with this, with the API, the Veeam API that we're going against in order to collect this information. I'm still going through testing, and we'll have definitive numbers on the metric rows and the timings that we see, but as a preemptive, note, there is a difference in the speed at which you can collect data when using the API. And again, for all of my larger customers, I'm always going to recommend that we go against the database because it performs at a superior rate, and it's also transparent to the users, meaning that our collection of information from the database does not adversely affect a user's experience as it relates to vCenter, and depending upon the number of solutions and tools that are accessing the the API, it could adversely affect your vCenter client. And so, but we will have both options. And you'll have the ability to choose from these. Note that the VMware API, it will be 30-minute increments. And again, the decision to kind of go with that interval collection is primarily has to do with scalability and performance, because the majority of our customers have thousands, if not tens of thousands, of virtual machines, and we want to ensure that if they do choose to use this adapter, that they'll be able to collect the required metrics in a reasonable period of time. Any questions, comments? And from a demonstration perspective, that was all I was planning on showing today. Not sure if did we want to open the floor up now or anything else. What I'm happy to address any questions that are outstanding.
To ask an audio question, please press *1 on your telephone keypad. There are no questions at this time.
So there actually was a question asking regarding a Hyper-V DA, and I just wanted to know that we do have a Hyper-V adapter today that is available via our SCOM kit, and that is actually available now as one of the additional solution kits. So good question, and fortunately we have an immediate answer.
And as a reminder, to ask an audio question, please press *1 on your telephone keypad.
And I guess one additional comment that I'd have for those participants, if you wanted to respond, I don't know if anyone has any thoughts as to whether or not the addition of an API-oriented adapter for VMware, if that's going to change your strategy as far as data collection. Meaning, I would be interested to know if you're potentially planning on using this or continue with our current adapter set, which is oriented to connect directly to the database. So if you're inclined and feel like responding, just a quick note as far as specifying if you're going to continue with what we've been doing or if you plan on changing, I'd be interested, and that'd be good information that I'd like to solicit. So feel free to send that, and we'll capture that in the notes.
And we do have an audio question from the line of Al Mond.
Yeah, Ashby, this is Noel.
Hey, Noel.
Good morning. I wanted to ask a question about NIMSoft. If you guys are going to have a roadmap as you transition from CCR to the NIMSOFT reporting?
Absolutely. And in fact, I have been elbow deep in kind of working on that alongside with Jose and the rest of the team. So yes, we do have a discrete strategy, and that is to move to the UMP framework as quickly as possible. And as we kind of develop a content, I'd be happy to go through. So, and I don't know if you're familiar with UMP at all, but I enjoy it. I really like what it's going to offer, and it's going to take, you know, our capabilities to the next level, especially as it relates to reporting. And so, meaning that, you know, being able to create reports on an ad hoc basis without extensive schema knowledge. So there are some great benefits that we'll be able to recognize right out of the gate that I believe that everyone will be thoroughly impressed with.
Yeah, the other thing I want to mention on that is, yes, there is a roadmap, and as we start moving functionality, we will be able to start providing more value because we will have more access to different kinds of data that we don't currently have.
Have you guys determined a timeline for when you're going to start introducing the NIMSOFT features?
So introducing NIMSOFT features, we are starting to introduce features now in September by adding the ability to collect data in NIMSOFT and use it in capacity management using the adapter. In terms of reporting features, we are starting to introduce an early adopter version in December, and we expect to have other versions of the CCR replacement over the course of the 2015 year.
Okay, thank you.
And there are no further questions at this time.
Yeah, and just one thing I did want to add. So Noel, I know we haven't chatted about this, but you know, in the foreseeable future here, we're going to be obviously we'll be having, you know, beta processes that are in play, and if that's something of interest, you know, we want to make sure that we get as much involvement as possible to make sure that as we begin this transition, that we're focusing on and pulling over the features and functions that are relevant and being used, as well as, you know, ensuring that you know, we kind of fill the gaps with you know, with our you know, with the new framework compared to what we've been using historically. So if you're interested, I'd absolutely love for you and your team to participate, and we'll make sure that you're kind of included, you know, in those discussions if you're interested.
Okay, thank you. I'll reach out to the other folks that are using it internally besides our team, and then we'll get back to either yourself or to Richard Pace and let them know that we're interested in the beta program.
Perfect.
And there are no further questions at this time.
Oh, okay. I saw one more that was sent across as far as describing the differences between the API and our database-oriented adapter, asking for more specifics. So if you were to reference our original VMware adapter, you'll note that there are a slew of metrics that are related to memory, so like ballooning, swap, there are some overhead metrics, and then also there are a number of various data store metrics, both from a capacity and performance perspective. And so so the main difference is that with the API-oriented adapter, we're focusing on the metrics that are leveraged in both CCC and Capacity Command Center, Virtual Placement Manager, as well as the Capacity Manager FAT client, so which would include you know, CPU, memory, disk, and network utilization values, We're also pulling in a more discrete set of data store metrics, and we'll be pulling in overall data store metrics as well as data store consumption information for individual VMs. And so if I, just from a percentage perspective, we're going to be gathering about 60% less. However, it won't affect the user's ability to create, build, or run models, nor populate any of the core reports. And if there are metrics that are missing that are pertinent to any one specific customer, we can definitely look at making modifications to accommodate. But generally speaking, the API adapter, we can expect to see about 60% less metrics compared to our historical database-oriented adapter. Okay. And that being said, I will pass the baton to Jeremy, and I appreciate everyone taking time out of their day to attend the session.
Thank you, John. Okay, so once again, like John said, thanks everyone for joining today. I'm the Product Marketing Manager for Capacity Management, and I just have a couple slides here to let everyone know about some upcoming events that are going on. So if you are in the New York, New Jersey, maybe even Connecticut or Philly area, at the end of the month on August 26th, we will be hosting a capacity management workshop, a technical workshop and business session at CA's Madison Avenue offices in New York City. You'll be well fed. You'll be well informed on the product's power and capabilities, as well as, if you can stay, we are looking to go take a quick bus ride over to the US Open that's going on right now, and to watch some good tennis that evening. So mark your calendars if you're in the area, August 26th. As well as, if you haven't heard, CA World is coming up. Capacity management will be very well presented and in visible view of everyone. We have some great customers speaking at the event. As you may have heard, Magic Johnson is one of our sponsored speakers there. Very excited about that, and a band that has yet to be named. So stay tuned for that. And so please register for that event if you haven't. And the first week of November, we will be a premier sponsor at the Computer Measurement Group National 2014 Conference in Atlanta. We have 3 speaking sessions there as well from our great speakers, and the core capacity management team here at CA are speaking on 3 different topics. So I know people from all over the world come to this conference every year, so look forward to seeing CA there as well, and we look forward to talking to you guys. And just real quick, if you haven't been to ca.com/capacity recently, a lot of great more industry expert reviews and videos, more white papers out there for you to read. More use case videos as well as customer success stories. So just a little plug there for the product page on ca.com/capacity. So we'll turn it back over to Jim. Jim, any final remarks as we conclude?
No, I'd just like to thank you for hosting this and for everyone attending, and have a great day.
And you're clear.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do I just have the panelists on the line?